In 1939, his name was Lauri Thorne, a Finnish soldier. In 1941, his name didn't change, but his uniform became Nazi SS. In 1954, his name became Larry Thorne, American Green Beret. One man, three lives, one enemy, the Soviets. This is the story of history's most unusual soldier. Finland called him hero, Germany called him brother in arms, America called him citizen. And today, at Arlington Cemetery, 3 flags fly over his grave. Wait until you hear what happened when he had to choose between his country and his conscience.
1919, Finland, a small town. When Lauri Alan Thorne was born, Finland had just become independent only 1 year earlier from the Russian Empire. But freedom was fragile. The Soviets were still there, at the border, waiting. As Lauri grew up, his father told him, "One day the Russians will come back. Be ready." Lauri got ready. At 18, he enlisted. The Finnish army accepted him, a thin but determined young man. He trained, he learned to ski, he learned to survive in the forest. And in 1939, his father was proven right. November 30th, 1939. Soviet Russia invaded Finland. Why? It wanted territory. Stalin thought he could easily crush little Finland. Finnish army, 300,000 soldiers. Soviet army, 1 million soldiers. No one gave Finland a chance. But the Finns didn't retreat. The Winter War began. 20-year-old Lauri Thorne was sent to the front. The snow was 6 feet deep. Temperature, -40 degrees. Soviet tanks were coming, hundreds of tanks, thousands of soldiers. But the Finns knew the forests. Lauri's unit, ski troops, moved silently. They wore white camouflage. They became invisible in the blizzard. Soviet forces got stuck on the roads, tanks froze, soldiers got lost. The Finns attacked. Lauri was a sniper. Soviet officers fell. Chaos began. One night, Lauri's unit ambushed 500 Soviet soldiers. There were only 30 Finnish soldiers. They fought until dawn. The snow turned red with blood. Lauri was wounded in the arm, but he didn't retreat. When the battle ended, his unit had killed 500 Soviet soldiers. Of the 30 Finns, only 10 were alive. Lauri, at 20, was a hero. But the war wasn't over yet. In fact, for Lauri, it would never be over. March 1940. The Winter War lasted 105 days. Finland lost, but with honor. The Soviets came with 1 million soldiers. They lost 126,000 dead. The Finns fought with 300,000 soldiers. They lost 25,000 dead. The world was shocked. Little Finland had stopped the Soviet giant. But the peace was bitter. Finland gave up territory, the Karelia region. 400,000 Finns became refugees. Lauri Thorne, recovering in a hospital, looked out the window. Refugees were passing. Women, children, elderly. They had lost their homes. Something broke inside Lauri. "We lost," he told a friend, "but I'm not finished. The Soviets will pay one day." That day came very soon. But what he did next would change his life forever and make him an enemy of his own country. June 1941. Nazi Germany attacked the Soviets. Operation Barbarossa. Finland had a choice, with the Soviets or with the Germans. The answer was clear. Finland entered the war on Germany's side, not for Nazi ideology, but to reclaim lost territory. The continuation war began. Lauri Thorne took up arms again, but this time he would wear a different uniform. From 1941 to 1943, Lauri fought in the Finnish army. He penetrated Soviet lines. He conducted guerrilla warfare. He killed hundreds of enemies. Finland awarded him the Mannerheim Cross, the country's highest medal. Only 191 people ever received it. Lauri, at 24, was a legend. But Lauri wanted more. In 1943, an offer came. Germany is offering special forces training, Waffen-SS. Interested? Lauri accepted. Now, let's pause here, because this decision would taint Lowry Turney's life forever. Waffen-SS, Nazi Germany's military unit. Yes, the SS, the organization responsible for some of World War II's worst atrocities. But the Waffen-SS that Lowry Turney joined was different. It was a military unit, not ideological. Was Lowry a Nazi? No. Was he anti-Semitic? No evidence exists. Did he believe in Hitler? No. So why did he join? The answer is simple: the Soviets. Lowry's only goal was to defeat the Soviets, and the Germans at that moment were the only major power fighting the Soviets. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. But history is not that simple, and Lowry would pay for this. 1944, Lowry trained in Germany. He received the Waffen-SS rank of Unterscharführer, sergeant. Then he was sent to the Eastern Front against the Soviets. Lowry commanded a small Finnish unit, only Finns, not Nazi Germans. Their mission: sabotage, intelligence, assassination behind Soviet lines. Lowry was perfect. In one operation, he ambushed 200 Soviet soldiers. Casualties? 0. The Germans awarded him the Iron Cross. But the war was being lost, and what happened next would force Lowry to make an impossible choice. September 1944. Finland made peace with the Soviets. The terms were harsh: cut ties with Germany, fight against the Germans. Finland accepted. For Lowry, this was betrayal. "We fought against the Soviets," he said. "Now we're making peace with them?" But worse was coming. To please the Soviets, Finland declared Finns who had fought with the Germans as war criminals. Lowry Turney was wanted in his own country. Lowry made a choice: surrender or flee. He fled. 1945. Germany was collapsing. Lowry took off his Finnish uniform. He took off his German SS uniform. He put on civilian clothes. He got a false identity. But where would he go? Finland had betrayed him. Germany was destroyed. The Soviets had won. Lowry went to displaced persons, DP camps, post-war refugee camps. There, like thousands of lost souls, he lived without identity. But Lowry was making a plan. America, he thought. I can start a new life there. But getting to America with an SS past wasn't going to be easy, and the lie he told would haunt him. 1949. Lowry managed to escape to America with false documents. But there was a problem: his SS past. If American authorities found out, he'd be sent back. Lowry lied. "I'm just a Finnish soldier," he said. He hid the SS. America accepted him. But Lowry couldn't rest easy. He worked in construction, in factories. But a soldier can't adapt to civilian life. Lowry started drinking. He got into fights. He was arrested. In 1953, one night he was sitting in a bar. A man approached him. "Are you Lowry Turney?" Lowry froze. Who knew? The man smiled. "I'm a veteran too. I'd heard about you. Winter War hero." The two men talked. The man made an offer. "The U.S. Army accepts foreigners. Lodge Act. You could join Special Forces." Lowry's eyes lit up. "But there's one condition," the man said. "You need to change your name. Erase your past." Lowry thought. Lowry Turney died. Larry Thorne was born. 1954, Larry Thorne joined the U.S. Army. He trained. He passed with excellent marks. Officers were amazed. How is this man so good? He looks like he's never been a soldier before. Of course he'd been a soldier before, in 2 armies. But Lowry stayed silent. 1957, he was selected for the Green Berets, Special Forces. Larry had finally found his home, but the warrior in him couldn't rest, and one last war was waiting. 1960s, Larry Thorne was a legend in Special Forces. He taught guerrilla warfare. He gave survival training. Young men asked him, "How are you so good?" Larry smiled, "Experience." But he never gave details. 1963, the Vietnam War was heating up. Larry was 44 years old. He could have retired, but Larry couldn't retire. War was his life. "I'm going to Vietnam," he said. Friends warned him, "Larry, you've fought enough. Rest." Larry shook his head. "A soldier doesn't retire. He only dies." Those words became prophecy. October 18, 1965. Larry Thorne was in South Vietnam, near the Laos border. Mission? Reconnaissance. Find the Ho Chi Minh Trail. He boarded a helicopter, CH-34 Choctaw. Pilot, co-pilot, Larry, and 2 more soldiers. The weather was bad. Fog, rain, wind. Pilot, "Should we cancel?" Larry, "No, continue." The helicopter took off. Minutes later, the radio cut out. The helicopter disappeared. Search teams were sent. Nothing was found. Larry Thorne was declared missing. But the story doesn't end here. From 1965 to 1999, Larry Thorne was missing. His family mourned. The Army honored him, but no one knew where he was. 1999, in the Laos jungle, a villager found something. Old helicopter wreckage, bones inside. The villager notified authorities. The American Army came. They did DNA testing. Result? Larry Thorne. After 34 years, he came home. June 26, 2003, Arlington National Cemetery, Washington, D.C. Larry Thorne was buried with full military honors, but the funeral was unusual. On the coffin were 3 flags: the Finnish flag, the German flag, controversial but historical fact, and the American flag. 3 countries, 3 armies, 1 man. And what they said at his funeral will give you chills. Those present: Finnish military attaché. Lauri Turney was Finland's bravest soldier. American general. Larry Thorne was the best of the Green Berets. German veteran, elderly. He was a warrior. He didn't fight for ideology, he fought to survive. The gravestone was engraved, Larry A. Thorne, Captain, U.S. Army, Special Forces, May 28, 1919, October 18, 1965. Below it, in smaller letters, Lauri Allen Turney, Mannerheim Cross, Iron Cross. 3 names, 3 medals, 1 grave. But one question remains. Who was Larry Thorne? A hero? A mercenary? A survivor? The answer is complex. Larry Thorne didn't fight for ideology. He didn't believe in Hitler. He didn't believe in communism either. He fought against the Soviets because the Soviets invaded his homeland. He defended Finland, then Finland abandoned him. Germany accepted him, not as an enemy, but as a brother in arms. America gave him a new identity, and he died with that identity. Larry Thorne's story teaches us this: war sometimes forces people to make impossible choices, and history sometimes is not black and white, it's gray. One man can fight in 3 armies. 3 countries can respect the same person, because courage is not tied to a flag, it's tied to conviction. In 1939, his name was Lauri Turney, the young man who stopped the Soviets in a blizzard. In 1941, his uniform changed, but his enemy didn't. In 1954, his name became Larry Thorne, a second chance at freedom. In 1965, he disappeared in the Vietnam jungle. In 1999, he came home. And today, at Arlington, 3 flags fly over his gravestone. Because some men don't fit in one country. Some men don't fit in one war. Some men are the war itself. Larry Thorne was a Finnish hero. Larry Thorne was a German soldier. Larry Thorne was an American Green Beret. But most importantly, Larry Thorne was a warrior. And the world will never forget him. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe. We explore history's most complex and inspiring stories together. Because sometimes the greatest stories start with the simplest questions. How many times can a man die and be reborn? Larry Thorne's answer: 3 times.